Hi, my name is Jessica, or The Dress Mess, and in today's video I will be showing you how I do my eyeshadow. If you want to see how I do my brows, you can go ahead and check the link in the description box below. I'll go ahead and leave that down there. And for now, the eye shape that I'm showing you is a hooded. I believe I may even have a double hooded lid. Not exactly sure on that. But I'll be showing you how I do my eyeshadow for my eye shape, and hopefully that'll give you a little bit of a idea on where to start with yours. I'm going to go ahead and go off camera really quick to do my brows, and I'll be right back. Alright, and now that I went ahead and put some brows on, let's go ahead and start on the first eye. I go ahead and usually start with my right eye because that is the eye that I have the most vision in still. It's a little bit, it takes a little bit more time for me to do that one because this one is closed most of the time. So again, like I said in my first video, usually I just feel for things and really start there. Okay, to start my eye look off, I usually go ahead and start with a primer. The primer I'm going to be using today is called the E.L.F. Poreless Putty primer, I believe. I don't think that it has a shade. It's just the original one. And that's what the packaging looks like. It's about $6 at Ulta with tax and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and start my eye off by priming it. And I always drag it all the way out because I know that for my eye shape, I like to do a smoked out look because it kind of lifts the eye and makes it less, like it makes your eyes look more awake and brighter instead of, like, you can really notice the edema in my eyes. That's from another separate medical problem, which is fine. I've had it for a long time. But because of that, I have some trouble blending sometimes, depending on what eyeshadow I use. And I have a lot of trouble with the wings whenever I go to put them on, which I will show you what I do to help that. But I'm going to go ahead and set this primer with LaGirl Pro Powder. I use the shade Translucent. It's like a white color. And then I use the Morphe Bake&Set, which is this one. This is the back of it. And I use the shade Brightening Pink. And I usually do a mixture. I'll turn them over like this and open them so that I have a little in the cap. Just be really careful whenever you do that. And then I always use a brush that is shaped like this. It's like a cat paw brush, sort of. And I go ahead and dip into both. And then I'll use this part and I'll just tap it off. And then I'll go ahead and set the eyes. And I start with the biggest part of the eye first, and then I blend. And you don't want to go like too hard on the blending. You more or less want to pack it on. And then once it sets and there's no creases, which my eyes have natural creases, so I don't worry about it too much. Because you really can't do anything about that. And then I go ahead and set the other eye. And I like this brush because it really fits into the shape of my eye really well. If you have a smaller eye, this brush probably will not work for you. You would probably want to get a smaller one or just a regular packer brush like normal, which I will be showing you in my look that I'm doing today. For today's look, I think I'm going to go ahead and do something like, I did a look on my Instagram that was like kind of a red smoky eye. So I think I'm going to do the same look today because I really liked that one. And for that, I'm going to be using the Jawbreaker Palette by Jeffree Star. I really like his eyeshadows because they're the only ones I can use without my eyes watering really bad. I have chronic dry eyes. So yeah, it just runs in my family. And then I'll also be using the Eyeliner palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics as well. It has a lot of grays in it, and that is what I'm going to be using out of that. Probably Black Hole, Ghost OG, and maybe some of that tall gray. I'm not really sure. And out of Jawbreaker, I'm going to be using Cherry Wet, Licorice, and maybe some Raspberry. And then I'm not sure what sparkle I'm going to pop onto my lid yet, but I'll figure it out as we go along. So I explained in my first video why I use an up-close mirror, but I really like these up-close mirrors because it allows me to see everything better for like just from a better perspective. And I also keep a stand-up mirror on this side kind of out of frame so that I can see how I appear far away to other people a little bit whenever I'm doing my face makeup and my lips, to make sure that I don't have anything that's like, you know, too splotchy or patchy. I use this, and then to make sure that nothing looks too dark or too muted with the other mirror. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with a rather fluffy brush. That is not the one I'm looking for. I'm going to start off with this one. Not sure if you can see that, but hopefully you can. This one is from the Morphe x Jeffree Star, and I'm going to be using those brushes today because those are the brushes I used in my look for my Instagram. So it's just easiest to do that. Yeah, I can't tell what this brush is, but if I can find it on the website, I'll link it below. Okay, so I go ahead and start out with the very lightest shade first. Normally, I would pop a translucent shade down, normally I would pop a transition shade down, but today, since we're working with reds and grays and blacks, I'm just going to go ahead and go straight in and use Cherry Wet as my transition shade, which is also actually one of my favorite lipsticks that he has. I'm going to go ahead and start by buffing it onto my eye, like so. And I always start with the furthermost part of the eye first, and I blend down and then I blend up. And then I'll start to blend in. And I really like to use circular motions, especially sometimes I take a really long time to do my eyeshadow, and I just find that the circular motions are what works the best whenever I'm trying to really get a really good blend. And then as I go further into my into the inner corner of my eye, I'm moving my hand further back on the brush, because whenever you do that, you apply lighter brush strokes, and instead of you having a ton of color and concentrated in two different areas, it's kind of a vast wash. And then I'll just go back into the same part, and at this point I like to go ahead and start to tip my brush downwards and blend in, because that is, again, one of the tips that I've learned. I learned that from, I believe, Nikki Tutorials is the first person that I personally heard that from. I know she's probably not the first person to use that technique, but I've gotten a lot of my tips and tricks from her. She's a really neat and really good YouTuber. I've watched her for a really long time. Okay, and I just like to make sure that there's like a pretty nice subtle blend on there. It doesn't have to be too fancy or anything, because this is just the loose color. so that we have some color laid down. I'm going to go ahead and take an even, like a tapered fluffy brush. And I'm going to go ahead and dip that into my setting powder. That is my translucent powder. Tap it off a few times. And then I'm going to go ahead and go towards the brow and blend that out a little bit. So that you have the top part of your brow, which is called, you'll be highlighting it. It's called just your brow bone. That's it. You want to keep that nice and bright, so that your highlight will really pop on it whenever you go to apply that. And again, like I said, you'll notice that it'll kind of blend out and start muting, which is what we want, so that's good. The next shade that I'm going to dip into, I'm going to dip in with a little bit of a smaller fluffy brush, and I'm going to go ahead and dip into that licorice shade that I was talking about in Jawbreaker. Tap it off a couple times. And I'm going to start really concentrating that on my crease. And since I have doing the same back and forth motions, the outer corner we swipe, the inner corner we blend with circles. But I draw my crease a little bit higher because, like I said, I do have those hooded eyes, and I do want to be able to see a little bit of what color is on my lid. And please excuse that noise. I am in my office with my door shut, and my dog doesn't really like that. He really does not like closed doors, but he was like screaming at me, which he loves to do. If I don't touch him 24/7, he's just not a fan. He gets plenty of attention though, and treats. He gets lots of treats. He's a very funny dog with a really big personality too. If he wasn't screaming his head off, I would let him in, but unfortunately. And a tip that I learned that really helped me was whenever I'm blending, since I have this eye shape, I really like to look down. And it really helps. Oh my god, okay. And again, really light. Alright, like I said, I'm just going to continue to use this transition. I'm going to continue to use this translucent powder brush to go ahead and blend the edges again. Okay, now that I have a good red base laid down, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the grays and start working my way into those. I'm going to go ahead and take another fluffy brush. This one is a little bit tapered. I'm going to go into Eyeliner, and I'm going to dip into... I think I'm going to dip into Ghost OG for now. And then I'm going to tap some off. And then I'm going to lay it down. Whenever I'm doing such vastly different colors like this, I like to go ahead and pat it down before I blend it in, because that way there's a little bit of something so it doesn't just blend away. And I'll just keep dipping in until I get, again, a pretty good shade range. You want to be really light when you go into that inner corner. Just be really careful. My biggest mistakes are always blending too much and like blending out way too much in the inner corner, because it's just hard. It's difficult sometimes, especially when you're blind. Okay. Yeah, I'm already going into the inner corner. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take that brush. I'm going to tap it off a few times. Okay. And once I have that, the basic shape, I'm going to go ahead and blend out, blend up and in, and just really buff. I personally really enjoy red smoky eyes. They're one of my favorite looks to do. I don't know why, but they just are. Probably because I was a teen child and that was the thing to do back then. Just add really bright colors with some black eyeliner up to the gods and enjoy your day, you know? Sometimes life is just putting on some MCR and getting some black eyeshadow on, you know? Okay, again, tap all that off. Start to blend downwards. Whenever I blend downwards, I go in windshield wiper motions. But I do it really slow. And then I'll go back and do the circle. Now that's a little bit blended in. I'm going to go ahead and take that first brush that I used and dip back into Cherry Wet just a little bit. Tap it all off. Blend it all together. This look I'm going to really blow out, probably almost to the very top of my brow bone, but that is my personal preference. If you don't want to blow it out that far, you do not have to. I'm going to go ahead and take my makeup wipe. The ones that I use, I believe, are the Neutrogena ones. I've used the Walmart Equate ones before. I just like the Neutrogena Sleep Tight ones because they don't burn as much. I take it, wrap my whole finger, and this is something I learned from Patrick Starr. Take it from the base of your eye and just go up. Then you have a pretty good smooth cut. And then you can see like where your eye shape is and what you need to do. So I just take some of that Cherry Wet and I'll just build it. Making sure that it's not blended in too much and it's not blended in, or it's not under blended. There we go, yeah. Okay. Again, back in with my translucent powder. And blend out. No. And then whenever I blend too far into my inner corner, I like to go ahead and take a little bit of that translucent powder and try and blend it back out. Like I said, try. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends. Depends on my skills on that day, I guess. Okay, so as you can see, I have a pretty good, nice blend up top. We're gonna go ahead and dip into licorice again with that smaller detailing brush, just to go over it one time. Go over the gray and kind of blend the two colors together, that Cherry Wet and the Ghost OG. And if you don't have these palettes, that's fine. You can totally do this look with different palettes. All you would need is a light pink red. Is basically the best way I can describe Cherry Wet. It's pretty pinky toned. And then the licorice color is more like a true red. Here, I'll go ahead and swatch it for you actually. Okay, so this is the Cherry Wet, and then this is the licorice. So you can tell that this one's a little bit lighter, and this one is a little bit deeper and true red in color. Okay, and then I go ahead and take that Cherry Wet again, and I just blend out. And I don't add any product to these whenever I'm doing this. I just use what's there because, like I said, I don't like to add too much. I do tell you whenever I dip back in, but I just don't like to add too much. So this is the same Ghost OG brush that I used. I'm just going to go back in one more time, kind of give it a nice little smooth blend. And that was a lay down for the black. And for the black, it's called Black Hole, like space. Honestly, it is a very true black. Go ahead and swatch it up here. So yeah, it's pretty pigmented. I like to use it to set some eyeliners that like just need a little bit of help whenever it comes to smudging and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the Black Hole eyeshadow. Okay, so I'm going to go back into the Black Hole, and then I'm going to start at the very inner corner, or very outer corner. And I'm going to use those tiny little motions just to put some of that color down. Now, you do have to remember, if you do go ahead and purchase a Jeffree Star palette, you will need to go ahead and read to make sure you know what you're purchasing. Some of these are pressed pigments, and some of these are eyeshadows, and those are two completely different things. And one is safe for the eyes, and one is technically not safe for the eyes. I've never had a problem with his eyeshadows. Like I said, his are the only ones that I've used that I haven't had a problem with. And that's just because of my eyes. It's not because of anybody's brand or anything like that. I do really like to use Anastasia Beverly Hills on other people. I really like to use Morphe sometimes. It depends on which palette. I did like the James Charles palette. The only problem was I did find, even with primer, concealer, and setting powder, there was a little bit of staining still with the blue, purple, and red shadows. I didn't really notice anything with the browns or the greens or the yellows, but most of the rest of them I did notice that with. So you just have to be careful, and you just have to find out what your eyes like and if your eyes have problems with anything. So I'm going to go ahead and keep blending. Once I have a little bit on this portion of my eye, the part that goes up, I go ahead and start blending on the part that goes in, which is called your crease. and I blend up and then I'll blend down. Okay, I'm going to tap some of that off. Another trick I like to do is if you have a vanity at home, if not, that's fine. Use whatever you're sitting at, but I like to use my vanity, tip my brush upside down, just give it a few taps on the most furthest part away. You don't want to do it up here on the handle part because, of course, that's going to lessen the life of your brushes. Okay. So now I'm just kind of going in and doing some small, tiny little circling motions. Again, choke back on that brush. God, I sound like I'm driving a motorcycle. And then again, I blend up, out, and up. And then I'll go back in and go tip the brush downwards, put my head down. I do put the mirror to this side over here. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. My biggest problem is this area right here. I have a really hard time blending everything in together. It usually just looks a mess, which is okay. I'm still learning. And hopefully you guys will be able to learn along with me. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with that Cherry Wet shade. Smoke that out. I did not dip it back in or anything. This is just the regular brush with just the residual. And again, I'm gonna, that was fine. I just stuck my finger and nail into X-Files in the Alien palette. Cool. And this palette does not exist anymore, so that's cool. Love that. I'm gonna go ahead, take my makeup wipe. Again. Get that eye shape. Again, go in with my translucent brush and deepen back into the translucent powder. Then, so I really want to make sure I get most of that off because I don't want to blend too much of it out. I just want to make it pretty. Well, try. Okay, I would say I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna do a little bit more blending. Then go back in with that licorice brush. Oh, there should be. And it does take a lot of blending for me. I probably take way longer than most people to do my makeup, but that's okay. Okay, and once I'm happy with how it looks, I Okay, cool. I will go ahead and use my concealer. Right now I'm using oil. Aha. Right now I'm using the Fit Me Concealer by Maybelline. I believe it's shade 110. Yeah. I believe it's shade 110. That's just my shade currently. I'm really pale right now. That's okay. For this look, I just put a little bit on the lid in the middle because it's not really a cut crease. Okay. So now that I have done that, I'm going to go ahead and use my ring finger to tap that out. But first, a trick that I learned from Trisha Paytas's old, I don't know how to say this, ex-makeup artist, Adam Lee Simmons, I think his name is. I learned to if you have the shape of eye, you can tilt your eyes up and to both sides and down, and it'll go ahead and kind of do a little bit of a cut for you. It'll show you where your crease stops and starts. And then I'll just tap it out on the sides. And that part is really important, tapping it out on the sides. Otherwise you're gonna have harsh lines and it's not gonna look as good. Since I do not have nails on today, I'm going to use my just regular bare fingers for applying the glitter shadow today. But if I had nails on, I would use just a simple little packer brush like this. I am going to go ahead and use, I don't know what I want to do today. I used a gray on the last one, but I kind of want to use a purple. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and go into the shade Bite Me from the Jawbreaker palette. And I'm just going to apply that. And then do it the exact same way I did the concealer. Just kind of tap the edges. I feel like that's not bright enough. That's like just not the purple vibe that I wanted. Okay. Momentarily. I'm going to go into the shade Delicious and tap that right on top. Yeah, there we go. That's more what I was looking for. Okay. And I think on the other eye, I'm probably going to do like a more, like a pink or a white shade, just because, I don't know, I just want to see. I just like to combine colors, I don't know. And then I'll go and I'll blend out on top of it. Now for this part, I do like to use the back and forth wiper motions, but for this part, I kind of just pat it, drag. Pat it, well I don't really drag, I kind of sweep. You just go like that. And then I'll go ahead and use some of that Ghost OG that was on that brush. Then go ahead and sweep that back out. Go back to the licorice. The licorice shade I do like to go ahead and dip back into whenever I do this step, just so it's a little bit more pronounced in red instead of black. Because I do still want that red shade to be showing. I didn't want it all to be just burgundy. Then I go back into the Cherry Wet. I did go ahead and, like I said, for this final step, I'm going to go ahead and dip back into that shade. And I'm just going to blend it out really carefully. And using the downwards brush trick, I'm just going to try to softly blend it out as much as possible. And then I'll go back in with a translucent shade. Again, dipping back into that translucent powder. tapping it off. Blending it out. Now at some point I'll get some better lighting, but it is expensive, so not today. Not for a while, but that's okay. We just don't have the best lighting in our apartment. We have extra lamps that, actually Walmart has these really cool light bulbs that you can get that are supposed to have bring more of a natural light into the home instead of like a yellow or fluorescent. Okay, that would be the blended out, just the eyeshadow portion. I do really like it. I wanted to do something a little bit more like more smoky and more deeper tones instead of something light and bright like I normally do. I just really like it for now, and also I'm excited for the cremated palette, so I'm doing that. Now for the next step, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my eyeliner. I like several of eyeliners, but the one I'm using currently is called Maybelline Master Precise All Day Wear. I do believe, yeah. And also this Essence Super Fine Waterproof eyeliner. And for that, I'm just going to go ahead, and this is a felt tip liner, I do believe, and I go to the innermost portion of my eye first, and I'm really careful. I, again, use a really, really, really light hand. I like to hold it where the, I call it the pencil holder, because it reminds me of, you know, those pencil holders you would have in like kindergarten, or like grade school. And then I go in, hold it, and I'm really, really, really light. And I just kind of start stamping it on, and I drag it. And I get it as close to my lash line as possible. And then once I start hitting that middle, I'm going to drag it a little bit up so we get a little bit more dimension. Bubby, stay out of mom's makeup, you nut. Okay, and once I have the eye completely lined, I go ahead and I switch over to my stand mirror. Whoop. And then I will actually put this mirror down. And for my eye shape, since I cannot see this part of my eye right here, since it is creased over, I actually go ahead, take it, and I just get it to where I can see it. To where I can see what's going on. Hi, Bubby. And I do probably look like a fool, but that's okay, because that is what works for me. Okay, and that is how I get a wing on. It is a little bit difficult for me. I can't really see lines all that well. So I've really had to practice, and with anything, practice makes perfect. I'm going to go ahead and do my under eye liner, smoke it out a little bit, and then I'm going to show you mascara and lashes, I think. For my under eye liner today, I'm using the shade Loverboy from ColourPop. It's a cream gel liner. My husband got my fiance, I call him my husband because that's what he's going to be, but My fiance got these for me whenever, for Christmas last year. ColourPop always comes out with like a bundle that's discounted at a really good price, and he was really sweet and did that for me, so that was nice. And I can't read this one because the writing is in silver, so it's just really hard for me to read. But I believe the white one is called Exit and the black one is called Swerve, but I use both of those regularly. And for this, I like with any liner that I use that's retractable or brow pencils, I barely roll it up because I'm really bad about applying too much pressure or just having really bad luck. One day I was using the yellow one, again, not sure on the shade, but I was using a yellow one and the whole thing flew out. So that was really sad because that was one of my favorite ones. But I just hold that skin right there just a little bit and I'll look straight forward. And for me, I can't really see what's going on right here now, which sounds scary, and it was the first couple of times, but once I got used to it, it was a lot easier to do, as with most things. But yeah, I'll just hold it and then I'll just go in and drag it to the middle. And then with the Loverboy shade, I'll again barely roll it up, hold that down just a little bit, and I do it very lightly because you don't want to do it too much. And then I line the bottom. And for this, again, I'll drag it a little bit past the middle, just so those two shades can meet and really do each other favors. You want them to be married. And then I'm going to take this brush. It's a really small pencil brush. And I'm going to take a little bit of the licorice and a little bit of the black hole and tap both off. And I barely put it in there, and there's barely any product. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's barely any product on there. Then I'll just take it and I look up, and I'll just blend it. And again, this is another one of those situations where you just learn your face and you learn where things are and how hard to press. For this, I do it really lightly and I go underneath the lashes, and I'm just really careful about it. And that's a little bit of a light smoke out. And then I usually go ahead and I'll take my translucent brush. I don't have anything on it. I'll sweep it back and forth a couple times just to make sure it's really blended in. I'm gonna get all the, like I said, my eyes water really bad, so sometimes I get these like little crusties, which is not appetizing to hear about, I know, but it's part of life. Sometimes it happens, so I get those before I finish, obviously. Then I just, again, one more time, just blend the whole thing all around just to make sure. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and show you how I do my mascara. Now, for my mascara, I like to use this Lash Princess False Lash Effect mascara from Essence. I also really like to use the waterproof one that is Lash Princess as well. There's a hair in my eyelashes. I hate whenever that happens, but I have a long haired dog, so that happens a lot. And my hair gets all over everything. Okay. So I really want to get, what I'm doing right now is I'm getting a lot of the product off because with just like any mascara, I've never tried a mascara where there's the perfect amount that comes off on the brush. I've always had to, you know, get a lot of it off, which is fine. I wish that they could figure out a way to fix that, but that's okay. And then I'll go ahead, and for me, I like to coat the lashes first with an up motion. And then this is enough for me since I'm going to apply falsies. But if you want to get some drama in there, you can coat it back. brush them on the opposite side, which I know is strange. And then you can push back up on the normal, I don't know, I guess I should stop saying normal, on the correct side, on the outside, and I wiggle and push up. And it kind of creates a little bit of like a butterfly lash effect. And then for my bottom lashes, I look up, and again, I won't lie to you, whenever I use mascara on my bottom lash, I have to be really careful because I've stabbed myself in the eye a couple times. But again, I'll go underneath first and then on top. Just using those back and forth, up and down. And then once I'm comfortable with that, I'll go ahead and wiggle it out. All right. And there is one eye completed. Except for the highlight, which I don't do until the very last part, because if I do it before I do the rest of my face, then the powder falls and it just looks bad. I normally don't do my lashes before the rest of my look, but because of the rest of the face that I'm going to do today, I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to do a full face or just like a light like tinted moisturizer and that's it. I'm going to go ahead and put my lashes on now, and then we'll go back and I'll make another video again on how to do your face, or how I do my face. Okay, and for today's lashes, I'm going to use the Ardell Demi Wispies stacked. It doesn't say what number these are, but if I remember correctly, whenever I purchased them, I believe they were either 114 or 117. I may even add a third Ardell 110 on top. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how the first two look. But for this, I want a really dramatic lash, or as dramatic as I have right now. I just bought these because they're inexpensive and they're easy to use for beginners, and that is what I am, so that's what I use. Okay, so I've already pre-stacked these. If you want me to do a video on how to stack your lashes, I can do that. I'm not like a professional by any means. I just started really using lashes recently. I just really like the element that they add to the look, and I've just now been able to use them. Before, I'd put them on and they'd be really bad, and they just pretty much destroy my look, if I'm being honest. Okay. The lash glue that I'm using right now is called Duo Lash Glue. I believe it's the brush on one, because that really helps me whenever I'm applying lash glue, because for one, getting the clear one, I can see kind of when it's dry. For lashes, you really want to coat them well and then let it dry for about 30 to 60 seconds until it's tacky. This one starts turning blue whenever it's ready, so that's pretty neat. So I'm just gonna, I look down and I just stick it to the middle first, and then I'll go to the outside. And how I get my lashes to stick, besides lash glue of course, is I make sure to get it to the very bottom of the lash line, and then I will go ahead and once I get it glued down, I'll go ahead and push it up. I don't have an eyelash curler just because I've always been terrified of them. But I suppose if I did, that would probably help my look a little bit. Okay, and then I'll just go ahead and pinch them together, the lash line and the lash band. Okay, and then I just push them up, and that is how I apply a lash. I'm going to go off camera and do my other eye, and then I'll be right back. Okay, and my other eye has been completed. I'm going to go ahead and start applying the lash glue to these lashes, and I'm going to pop them on. Again, like I said, with these, with this particular lash glue, I always wait 30 to 60 seconds. Sometimes it dries quicker, sometimes it doesn't. It brushes on really white, and then it'll dry into like a milky white blue whenever it's ready to use. That's why I do like this one, because it is a little bit easier to tell for me personally, because the color changes so drastic. As with, I used to like to use a black glue because of the band, but now I just can't see what's going on, so it's just harder for me to do. So I'm gonna go ahead, blow on these a little bit so it can dry. And then again, I'm going to use my mirror to see, and I'm just going to look down. To apply them. And I'll wait a couple seconds. I'll pinch them together like I did on the other eye. And sometimes that happens if I put too much glue or not enough glue, it'll pop off. So I'm just going to go ahead and redo it. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to go ahead and redo the whole thing, actually, to be real, because it seems like that one's kind of falling off a little bit. So I'm going to take a new one. Again, I'll apply the lash glue. I like to make sure, especially if it's a new one, I like to make sure to get both ends of the lash glue or the lash really well. Again, I can't really see, so I kind of just pray. Okay. I will say one thing I don't really care for about lashes and lash glue is, since I do have a dog, and my hair too, but mostly my dog's hair, they do get intertwined a lot, and that is annoying. I'm going to go ahead and apply this just like I normally would. So I apologize if you can't see, but And again, I cannot really see, so it's a miracle for me to get these on. I'm going to go ahead and go in with the second pair now. Just because that's my personal preference with these ones, because they're a little bit more on the natural side rather than the dramatic. And for this particular look, I would like a dramatic lash. Well, now I've got lash glue all over my fingers. All right, and there is my other lash on. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I did with the other one and push it up a little bit. So like I said, again, you don't have curlers. I should invest in some, but okay. And I will say there is a rather large difference in this than this. These ones need trimmed, but I'm not going to do that while they're on my eye, and I just needed to do it just really quick. But I'm going to go ahead and highlight, and then I will show you my final look for my eyes. Now for highlighting, like I said, I use my fingers sometimes, but for this video, I'm just going to use a brush just to show you how to do it. I go ahead and I find a color that I like that goes with like the theme. I usually do, if it's more like these kind of colors, we'll do like a silver, but if it's like orange or yellow or like a green look, I'll do a gold. But so for now, I'm going to dip into Jawbreaker, the shade Jawbreaker, and Alien, the shade Pluto, and Interstellar. I'm going to just put a tiny little bit on all three on there. And I'm going to just dab the inner corner, tap, and then do my brow bone really nice and light. If you want to really make this pop, you can use some setting spray and spray your brush. But for right now, that's not really what I'm looking for in this look. So I'm just going to keep it just how it is. Okay, and then for my final step with the eyes, I will just use, excuse me, that translucent brush. Make sure nothing's on it. And I'll just blend that little bit of highlight in with the rest of the eye, just to make sure that it's all blended and looks nice and good together, instead of just like it's there, you know. Okay, and that is the final look for the eyes. I am gonna go ahead and go off camera again and do the rest of my full face because I'm gonna go ahead and do that for a video, and then I'll be right back. And I'm back. Hi. I went ahead and did the rest of the face and the other eye off camera. This is how I do my makeup. I hope that you'll keep an eye out for the video that's going to be coming up on how I do my face. I'm going to be showing you guys that in detail, just like how I did my eyeshadow today. That look will probably be out in about 4 or 5 days, again, like this video did. It does take me a little bit to edit things because I have to do it on a phone instead of a computer, so it's just a little bit more difficult, but that's okay. However, I do hope that you liked this video. I hope that you subscribe to continue watching me. I hope that you can leave a comment of what you would like to see next on my upcoming videos. Give me a couple ideas of what you're looking for, what you're looking to learn. If you need colors, color stories, whatever you want, I can try and do it. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you didn't feel like I was trying to push products on you or anything. I just like to be very informative of what I use because not everything's going to work for everybody. And I just like to let you know what I use so that you guys can try it. And if it works for you, awesome. And if it doesn't work for you and you need something different, then just keep on trying stuff. The beauty industry comes out with new things pretty much almost every day, so the formulas just keep getting better and better. I hope you guys have an awesome day and a great rest of your week. Bye!